All right, we're now streaming on all the platforms, including
What's up,
Facebook, Twitch,
platforms?
and YouTube.
Twitch, YouTube, iTunes. Let's go. Spotify.
Yeah.
Ready to serve. Let's go.
Okay, so I'm gonna press record on this episode. People are more important than things.
Yeah.
Three, two, one.
Leaders and healers, ladies and gentlemen, gamers and claimers from around the universe, from around the globe, from around the community. Welcome to the Power, Purpose, and Passion podcast. I am your host, Anthony Cheam, speaker, life coach, author, trainer, love bug, and to the whole entire world, to every sentient being around. We're here to give to you the best of what I've learned in the past 15 to 20 years, from books to seminars, from life experiences. I'm at a point in my life where I just want to give as much as I can, the wisdom, the love, the caring, the compassion, the insight, the inspiration from various different strategic platforms and people that I've learned from along the way. And thank you for joining us today. This is a podcast where we help you claim your power, clarify your purpose, and cultivate your deepest and widest passions so you can ultimately show up as the best, better version of yourself, so you can ultimately inspire others to do the same. Because, in life, what else is there other than to love, to be inspired, and to give to others best of you that is possible, the sharpest you, the most kindest you, the best version of yourself, so you can update and upgrade on a consistent basis in every facet of your life. Thank you for joining us. Cam, how you doing, my friend? What's going on?
Very well. So yeah, I'm really excited for this episode, and I'm watching every single day this podcast grow, and it's making me really happy. There's a lot going on here. So, so we're gonna do 5 life lessons. Very much looking forward to that. Today is people are more important than things. I could already imagine what this, how awesome this show is going to be, because I totally agree. A lot of people lose sight of, like you said in a past episode, if you had everything, or $12 million or something, but you had to stay on an island, most people would hate that life. Yeah. So it just goes to show, people are way more important than things. And so let's get right into it, man.
Well, I was actually going to start with that. You stole that from me. That's amazing. Thank you. No, you didn't steal it. It just goes to show you're listening there, Cam. You're 20 years old. You're a man that's listening with your heart open, with your mind open, with your spirit open. But yeah, you're absolutely right. People are more important than things. We as human beings get caught up on overproduction, overachieving, over this, over that. We have to do, and never be. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, one of my favorite times of my day, once I arrive there. I mean, the most important time is now, if you want to get all metaphysical and spiritual on me, but the most important time, I can tell you, one of my favorite times is when I'm with my children at nighttime. When I'm laying down with them after a hard day's work, and we're just there with each other, laughing, cuddling, snuggling. I'm reading them a book. We're laughing. We're just doing. We're in the moment, totally playful, cheerful in the moment with my 9-year-old, my 7-year-old, and we're just chatting. Even though it might be past their bedtime, I'm with them. I'm making a major deposit into their love bank account at that time. So I said this on previous podcasts, that you want to begin your day with a deposit into other people's love account, actually into your love account. So then you can then share that love account and what you've earned in your love account with other people. And you want to end with love. And then if you begin with love, end with love, you're basically start with love, end with love. And then everything in between, I wouldn't say takes care of itself, but if you begin with love and end with love, I truly believe that, you know what, love is the most powerful force in the universe. That is another life lesson that we're going to cover this week. But the first master life lesson definitely is people are more important than things. And that reminds me of a great YouTube video by a name of Randy Pausch. And he was a professor at, I believe, Caltech University. And he was a very popular professor. And if you haven't seen his last lecture video or read his book, The Last Lecture, I highly recommend you watch it. He was a man at the time. He's passed away since then, a while ago, but he was a man with 11 tumors in his body. And he was a very popular teacher, professor at the university. And he talked about some of the biggest life lessons. And one of the life lessons he does talk about was people are more important than things. And he gives this great example where, and I'm paraphrasing sort of, but you'll understand the life lesson. He was driving in his new Volkswagen Jetta or something, and I guess his nephew was sick. And his nephew was in the car in the back, and the uncle, his brother, I guess, said to him, don't throw up in Uncle Randy's car. It's brand new. And Randy looked at the child, his nephew, and said, listen, it's not that big a deal, man. He literally literally took Coke, a can of Coke, and started pouring it onto his upholstery. Literally saying, telling that, whatever, that young child, that people are more important than things. So how many people would do that? I don't know if I would do that personally, that crazy intense, but man, do I have respect for what he was teaching that child. Because, in those moments when you are judging or criticizing, condemning a child for, pouring milk on the couch, on the new couch, or drawing on the walls, or whatever it might be. I remember even when my daughter was maybe about 2 years old, and she took some markers, like permanent markers, and started started drawing things on the carpet. And I remember my first reaction was, oh gosh, that's going to take me forever to clean. Oh my gosh, that's expensive. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to go down with her and actually just draw some stuff on the floor with her. And I remember just started drawing on the floor. That reminded me of what Randy Pausch said. People are more important things. And I remember even in the video, he talked about how his parents used to let him draw on all 4 of his walls. That was his sanctuary. He could do whatever he wanted to do with his 4 walls. That was his sanctuary. That's where he could be a kid and let loose and be whatever his imagination allowed him to be. And I respect that so wholeheartedly. And I've learned so much from that video, from that life lesson. And I wanted to begin this master life lesson week with people are more important than things, that your relationships, as Dr. Dean Ornish, he was a professor of nutrition at Harvard University. And he talked about how more important than the food you eat, the genes you inherit, and your exercise, your relationships will determine more your health than those 3 things combined. This comes from a very astute, adroit, intelligent master scientist, nutritional professor at Harvard University. And he's telling us that relationships will determine your health more so than any of those things: genes, nutrition, and your, the exercise routine. Because let's say you do have great genes, and let's say you do have a great health plan, and you're eating optimally for your gene type or your blood type, or you're eating vegan, and you're drinking your water, you're eating your vegetables, you're taking your supplements, you're getting blood tests, and you're exercising profusely, and you have horrible relationships. Trust me when I say this, you're not going to be healthy. Your body's not going to process those foods properly. Your digestive system is going to be hindered. Your whole system is going to be compromised if your relationships aren't aligned. You are constantly growing within your relationships. Even today, I want to share with you. I mean, I don't want to put myself on a pedestal, make me the example, but I was at a wedding today, and I was singing for this wedding on a Monday, and it's a friend of mine. And during this, I love watching the ceremony, and I see 2 people saying their vows. And then after the wedding, I couldn't help but just go, I'm going to send my wife a text and say, hey, I love you. That's all. And she responded and said, you're the greatest man that I know. And it was just such this so coalescing of words, love using words, and just me sending that text. It took me literally 5 seconds to write that text to my wife. Her 10 seconds to write that response to me. And how good is her day going to be? How good is I felt it charged my emotions. It enhanced my immune system. So when your relationships are attuned, man, nothing's impossible. I remember hearing even Zig Ziglar talk about how, he would meet some of the CEOs and chairmen and presidents of multi-million-dollar corporations. And he would say to Zig Ziglar, they say, you know what? I am where I am because of my relationships with my family. I am where I am because of my wife. I am why I am because of the relationships I have with my children. A while ago, I was successful financially, but I'd come home and my kids wouldn't like me or didn't know who I was. But as soon as I fixed my relationships, I made my relationships with my family a deep and profound priority. Man, his life was just enriched and empowered and ensconced with so much joy and fulfillment that allowed him to be a better CEO, or her a better CEO, a president, a leader, a trainer, a teacher, whatever it might be. So that is the life lesson today, guys. People are more important than things. And to kind of remind you again, let's just face it, guys, that if you had $10 million, if I gave you $10 million from my bank account, which I don't have, but let's say I gave you $10 million and I just said, hey, here's 10 million bucks. And the only stipulation on this 10 million bucks is that you'd have to be on an island and you could never see your family, your friends, your kids ever again. How much would that $10 million be worth to you? I mean, I've rarely heard anyone that says, "Hey, that'd be worth a lot to me. I'd still go on that island." You couldn't give me all the money in the world if it meant 5 minutes with my mother, who just passed away a little bit over a month ago. I would give everything to have 5 minutes of conversation with my mom. That's how important relationships are. So I'm deeply emotional, up and down with thinking about my mom. And for the people that have watched this podcast, yeah, I found her lying on her front hallway, and I had to perform CPR on my mom. And let me tell you something, that was a very horrific and very emotionally charged event that occurred in my life, and it's still affecting me, of course. But let me tell you something, what I would give to have 5 more minutes with her. I know she's with me in spirit, but man, what would I give to have a 5-minute conversation with her? Here's a great question for you. And I use this in seminars for the people. Just think about this for a moment. Let's say you had 6 months left to live. 6 months. That's it. Half a year, you're gone by by May or April 2019. You're gone. Done. Your body's expired. You're now worm food. What do you do in the next 6 months? Where do you go? What do you say? Are you afraid? Are you going to live with love? Are you going to live with hate? Are you going to live with resentment? What are you going to live with? What are you going to do in those next 6 months? Let's take it a little deeper. 6 weeks left to live. How important are those little small problems and challenges that our ego makes important, our inner cynic makes important? 6 weeks left to live. What do you see? Where do you go? Where do you see? Who do you talk to? What do you say? What do you write? What do you do from there on in? 6 days left to live. 6 days. That's it. Less than a week, you're gone. By this time, this Sunday, you are now worm food. Your body's expired. Your heart's not beating anymore. And that's it. Depending on your spiritual beliefs after the afterlife or reincarnation. But what do you do for the next 6 days? 6 hours left to live. Wow. All of a sudden, you're kind of like, wow, 6 hours. By dinner time tonight, I'm there. I'm at my expiration. 6 minutes left to live. What do you say? Where do you go? Who do you spend that last 6 minutes with? And you start to realize as you go deeper and deeper and deeper into, okay, 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 days, 6 hours, 6 minutes. What do you want to leave this world? Is your job, the money you're making, the most important thing? Or is it the time you have with your loved ones? And that's how important your relationships are. People are more important than things. You can't take the garage full of material things with you. You can't take your car or your shoes or your purse or your whatever with you. What you can take with you is that, as one of my spiritual mentors used to say to me, Anthony, the only thing you can take with you is that which you gave away. Leave this world as empty as possible. And that which you keep for yourself, you lose for a lifetime. You'll lose forever. So give it away. Share with others, deepen your relationships, amplify your ability to serve other people. I put on my Instagram and Twitter today, I said, render a service that's greater than anybody else is what I basically said. Because if you're going to render a service that's greater than anybody else, you're going to have abundance in money, finances. You're going to have abundance in relationships and health and spiritual and emotional abundance. So your relationships, make that number one. I spend every single day just reinforcing that. And I use Wayne Dyer's mantra or affirmation. How may I serve? How may I serve? How may I serve? How may I serve with the greatest level of power, purpose, and passion in me? How may I serve with the greatest level of intention and attention? How may I serve with the greatest level of depth, breadth, love, and wisdom? So everyone around me is impacted by that. Even if it's just a small little prayer, even if it's just a moment of attention to see someone that's hurting on the street, or seeing my wife or my kids that just want me there as their father or as their husband, totally present with them, mind, body, soul. That's what it's all about. If you can give the people that you love that sort of level of attention and presence, let me tell you something. It will. That's the biggest deposit you can make. Being present to the people that you love, even if it's 5 seconds, 5 minutes. It's not about quantity; it's about quality. Absolutely, and that's how I live. That's how I try to live. I'm not mastered it yet. I'm still growing, but again, the first master life lesson: people are more important than things. Make a big shift. Start re-examining and reevaluating your life and saying, have I let my ego be in the driver's seat where I'm allowing material things to basically direct my attention and my actions and my emotions? Or am I allowing love to be on the driver's seat so that I can connect deeper, I can make a bigger impact, inspire others? And let me tell you something, if you want a tangible benefit, when you lead with love, when you lead with inspiration, when you lead with connecting with others, and when you lead with helping others, and you're meeting someone else's needs before your own, let me tell you something, abundance is going to flow to you. You just got to trust that. It's flown into mine without even expectation of that. All of a sudden, abundance flows to me in the form of friendships, of relationships, of money, of opportunity, of insight, of wisdom. And so that is the master life lesson number one. Any insight there, Cam, as I was wrap this up?
I would just say it makes you a lot more happy when you start taking people, like, I guess, less for granted than we usually do. I know that recently in my life, I have honestly been wanting for other people, like I've been wanting what I want for myself more for others than I want for myself. And I never thought I'd get to that point, because that doesn't make any sense. Like, you know, you make a pizza or something, very, very small example. And you're like, really, you're drooling, you're ready to eat this thing. But for some reason, you want it more for others than you want it for yourself. And honestly, I don't know why, but that creates so much happiness for me. Like giving to others what I, treating others the way I want to be treated, basically.
Yes.
And for some reason, it just pumps me up to know that I'm going to go support my friends with what they're doing with their life, or help them with what I have to offer, similar to what we're doing with the podcast and all this technology stuff, It makes me happy that I'm giving you a chance to share your message with the world, because I know that is your purpose. Like, this is your life purpose. And I just enjoy the fact that I can be one of the big pillars in helping you accomplish that. And I think if more people approached life with that frame of mind, that idea of wanting more for others, like wanting what you want for yourself, but more for others. Like, I want other people to be at peace. I want them to be happy. I want them to love themselves. I want them to follow their purpose and live their best life. And all of a sudden, I'm taken care of. That's what it feels like. It just feels like the moment I'm helping others is the moment some unseen force takes over my life. And I'm, at the end of the day, I just end up being fed, as an example. You know what I mean? Just like that idea.
Yeah, I think you capped it off with probably the most sharpest point of this podcast, this life lesson. Because if you want love in your life, give it. If you want to be appreciated, appreciate your life. You're absolutely right, Cam. I mean, that's exactly, you basically summed everything I've just said in that one 30-second spurt. I mean, you've grown so much, man. It is an absolute pleasure to be a partner in power with you, man. So listen, let me tell you something. I'll end with this. Live life as if you're going to get the shorter end of the stick, as one person said to me. Meaning this, you give to others more so than you're going to get in return. Give so much value that it almost seems like you're going to get the shorter end of the stick, when in reality, in the end, you're going to get the bigger end of the stick. Those who will be first will be last. Those who will be last will be first. That sort of idea. The spiritual Jesus Christ said that, right? He's a pretty smart guy, right? So understand that giving of yourself, you have infinite, boundless, limitless skills and abilities that you have to give. And if you just make that shift from giving to others, as Cam says, that which you want in your life, wanting it more for others, and giving it that, and having that attention and intention of giving it more to others, man, the life's journey is so much more powerful. It's so much more playful. It's so much more passionate. And the universe opens its doors to you, welcoming you home to heaven, literally. So to your continued upgrade and evolution, guys, live it up with power, purpose, and passion. If you love this podcast, if you like this particular episode, share it, comment on it, like it, ask questions, whatever it is. We want to support your growth. We want to support your enhancement and upgrade and evolution. So thank you for joining us. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow for master life lesson number 2. And we're going to go from there. We're going to cap it off with five life lessons from Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining us, guys. We love you.